have been in the recruiting space for a long time now, and no matter how much time passes, there is a severe lack of education about Division II football and the athletic scholarships you can get to play Division II football. You know how many messages I get from people that say, Division II programs, they can give athletic scholarships? And then they go to the coaches, yay, it's a free ride, it's a full ride. Wrong. There's a lot of misinformation, just uneducation. And if you click this video, you realize that your dream of playing Division I football probably isn't going to be coming true. But you still feel like you are good enough to obtain an athletic scholarship. And I'm here to tell you that you still can. And honestly, I am so sick of some of these great high school football players completely turning down opportunities to go play at the next level because they think they should just go walk on into Division I school. I'm going to educate you on how the scholarship model works. I'm going to break down facts and numbers to show you examples behind the scholarship model, and we're going to leave you with how to put yourself in the best position to obtain an athletic scholarship from a Division II college. And who am I? Well, I'm Alex Agrella. I did actually spend a cup of coffee at a Division II college. I know some of you are still going to be questioning, well, why should we be listening to this guy? So I brought in the heavy hitters for this one. The head coach of one of the top Division II programs across the country, both in athletics and academically, entering his second year as head coach of the Bentley Falcons, Coach Saj Thakkar.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Alex. Fired up to be on. Bentley, specifically in the Northeast and in the landscape of Division II college football, there aren't many better places where you can kind of get the best of all worlds. When you talk about an elite education, 99% job placement, #1 ranked career services in the country, along with playing a high level of football. We're right amongst the tops of the NE10 every year in and year out. We got a great staff, a new staff, myself included, positive, high energy. It's a great place to go to school and play football. Get on our website. All of our coaches' information is on there. Myself specifically, find me on Twitter, Coach_Thakkar, THAKKAR.
So hey, if you don't want to listen to me, listen to Coach. You can find all his information below. Without further ado, let's jump into the video. The difference between Division I versus Division II scholarships are, at the FBS level, no matter if you are Alabama, UMass, you have 85 full scholarships to distribute amongst your roster. 85, no matter the program. If you have 10 players leave, they're all on scholarship, you have 10 scholarships. This is what we call the head count scholarship. At the FBS level, you are either a walk-on or you are a full ride kid. There is no in between. Division II is structured much more like the NFL, believe it or not. They have a salary cap they have to abide by. The NCAA limits Division II schools to 36 full scholarships. Does that mean they all have them? No. That's another myth that we just busted.
We do not have 36 scholarships.
If they do, they are fully funded. I have heard teams having as little as 12. I've heard teams having 18, 25, up to the full 36. So if a D2 school, say they cost $45,000 a year to go to, 45 is one full equivalency scholarship. Double that, that would be 90,000. 2 full equivalency scholarships. 3, 135,000 up to 36, which in this case would be $1.62 million. If you go to any of your local D2 programs out there, there are way more than 36 players on a team. In fact, you definitely couldn't have a varsity team with only 36 players. Not at the NCAA level, at least. Some Division II teams have 100 or 100 plus people on their team. So instead of a head count scholarship, they have to look at it as an NFL salary cap, basically. You have $1.6 million. You have to bring in the best players possible, distributing that money amongst your team, however that may be.
We have a position group this year where we had 8 guys in the group last year. We thought we were going to lose one, but he's going to come back for a 5th year. So all 8 guys at that group are coming back. So we're not going to spend any money at that group just so it doesn't make any sense. Like, we don't need to. We can use that money elsewhere. Like, I'll be honest, like this year, we don't have too much available just because we have a ton of 5th year guys coming back. Whereas next year, we're going to have more available.
So again, if we have $45,000 and that's one equivalency scholarship, we can also break it down like this. 2 players could get a $22,500 scholarship. 4 players can get an $11,200 $750 scholarship, or 7 players could get $6,400. However you want to distribute that, that is one equivalency scholarship. So you go from 36 to 35. I was listening to the Adam Brenneman podcast, and he had former NFL GM Steve Keim on, and he talked about the NFL salary cap.
The salary cap is a large pizza pie, and there's so many slices that can go around. Yeah. And that's the simple way of saying it.
One giant pizza, and there's only so many slices to go around, and no, not everyone is going to get an equal slice. At least you got a slice. This is why it's so rare for a D2 college to give a full athletic scholarship to a kid. Unless you are an absolute game changer. You have 36 pizzas, you're basically giving a full pizza to one guy when that pizza could feed 4 to 7 people. It's so much harder for a D2 coach to know how much money they have to spend, because it's not like D1. If you have 15 players leave, they're all on scholarship, you have 15 scholarships. Nope. You might have 15 players leave. One of them might be on a 20,000, one of them might be on a 10, one of them might have been on an 8, one of them could have been on a 7,000. So every team is different as to what they can spend every offseason and what positions they're going to be allocating money to every offseason. So if you get any athletic scholarship from a program, that's a big deal. And there's only so many slices of pizza, so if you get a slice, that's a good thing. At the D2 level, the admissions process is way more important than at the D1 level. 100%. Here's the deal. Minus a couple of schools, if you're an NCAA qualifier, it doesn't matter. You can have a 5.0, a 10.0, or a 2.5. The school can get you in. Once you're admitted into the school, you're on a full athletic scholarship. The admissions team says, thank you, congratulations. They're not going to give you a penny of merit scholarships. They just need to admit you. D2, those admissions people hold much more power.
Before we even say the word offer or talk offer to a kid, we have a pre-screen process with our admissions department in which area coaches, myself as the head coach, whoever's recruiting a particular student athlete, will collect transcripts, any sort of resume type stuff, if they have test scores, and submit them to our admissions team, who then gives us kind of like a green light, red light, okay, keep recruiting, or, stop right here type thing. And that is step number one. Obviously, they do take into account that they're a student athlete, but they still need to be able to get into the school and meet the requirements that all other non-varsity athlete applicants have to meet.
From there, after you basically know we can get this kid in, that is when an offer, if everything else checks out, would be extended, correct?
Correct. Yeah, absolutely.
Getting into a Division II college and being an NCAA Division II qualifier are two completely different things. Not only that, but your GPA and test scores matter way more to a Division II program than they ever would to an FBS college, because you are going to have to impress those admissions counselors to get a better merit scholarship from them. And anyone who says I'm wrong, get in the comments. Let's argue. So this is right off of the St. Anselm's website. Merit aid is offered by the Office of Admissions in the form of scholarships and grants to students who display exemplary academic credentials. Merit awards range from $20,000 to $32,000 annually. Merit scholarships are what you see. It's a scholarship and a grant, which you don't have to pay back. And it's from the college themselves. And as we see at St. Anselm's, typically the packages range between $20,000 and $32,000 a year. The higher the GPA, the more merit scholarship you will hopefully get from the admissions process. What's important to note here, any scholarship money that you get from the admissions process is a blessing. If you get $5,000 a year from them, that's $20,000 you don't have to pay towards your education. But two, say if you do get $5,000 a year, hopefully it's more. $5,000 was based off my transcripts, right? Whatever money you get, that's money that the football team doesn't have to give. That's money they save. They're not taking it out of their budget. And that's money they can allocate elsewhere to the team. So say there's another kid going through the admissions process process, and his GPA isn't as high as some of the other athletes that St. A's or Bentley or any of these D2 colleges are recruiting. So their merit package isn't as good. That's when the head coach can then in turn say, okay, we can then pick up and give him more athletic scholarship money. He's only getting 5 from admissions. We have to at least give him 20 to make up for the stuff he didn't get. So the higher the GPA of an athlete, that is gold to a college coach at the Division II level.
If I have a 3.7 and a good ACT, does that make me a more attractive recruit to you?
Absolutely. Because I think a big part of it, right, is finding fit. So like some kids tell us flat out, like, coach, my family can afford $20,000 a year to go to school or $50,000. Well, if you come to Bentley and you don't qualify for any merit and you don't meet much need, what we have available for football isn't going to get you to that price point, right? That's a huge part of our process. Like when we find guys that really check that box that can, qualify for some academic money, it makes everything else so much easier, and it makes the chance of us yielding that recruit, that much greater. At the Division II level, everything matters, right? Like we can't just say, hey, you're a really good football player, here's a full scholarship. Your academics matter for us, especially, and for most of the country in Division II. Like, it doesn't matter where you're at as a head football coach. If you bring someone with a 4.0 GPA and knock out courses to your admissions officer, you're going to be in great shape because you're making their life easier too.
See, I hope some of you are getting it. Now, the third type of financial assistance that athletes can qualify in the recruiting process, but it has actually nothing to do with any of the colleges that you are looking at: financial aid. Financial aid is available for those who apply and qualify in the form of student loans and then government grants if you are eligible. Keyword: if you are eligible. Federal Pell Grants usually are awarded to only undergraduate students who display exceptional financial needs. A federal Pell Grant, unlike a loan, does not have to be repaid, and the most you can be awarded for a Pell Grant is $7,395. When you do your FAFSA, you see what types of financial assistance you qualify for through the government. Not everybody qualifies for financial aid. However, it is always beneficial to go on the website that you see right here and apply for it. If you, which some of you are, under the age of 24, pause this video and get your parent right now, because the FAFSA does not allow you to complete it on your own until you are of the age of 24. For those of you who don't know, college isn't free. This will ultimately tell you if you can afford the school that you were looking to go to. It will tell you if you had to come out of pocket. And above all, it will tell you if you were a Pell Grant qualifier. So say if you do qualify, if you get $6,000 a year in Pell Grant money, that is money that the government is giving you and that the college isn't. So like we talked about earlier, this saves the football team money because that is $6,000 that they don't have to put towards your athletic scholarship. Right off the top, it is cut from the tuition per year. I want to emphasize that this is not all grants. Majority of it is student loans. However, in this case, we are talking about outside support, and if you are a Pell Grant qualifier, it ultimately helps.
For us to really get the most bang for our buck, right, we want to try to hit the aid piece 3 ways. We want merit scholarships, a financial aid piece, and then football money. It's like a 3-pronged approach.
So now that we have our 3 types of financial support, I'm going to make up a fictitious scenario based off of a D2 college. If they were to give me a scholarship, what it would amount to. The school will cost $68,000. So let's say they gave me $22,000 a year in merit scholarship money. So after I'm done with the admissions process, I'm at $46,000 a year. Then coach gives me a $25K bag as an athletic scholarship. That brings me down to $21,000 a year. Now I, meaning my parents, would apply for the FAFSA. And in this made up scenario, by the way, let's say I qualified for a $3,000 Pell Grant each year for my education. After my merit scholarship, after the athletic scholarship, and after the Pell Grant, my yearly cost of attendance would be $18,000. Some of you kids out there may say, $18,000? That's so much money. But some of you heard that and said, that's it? That's all you'd have to pay a year? Are you kidding me? But I'm going to put it in a different perspective. My $22,000 merit scholarship and then the $3,000 Pell Grant, what is that up to? $25,000. The football team saves $25,000. And all things considered, if you're getting 50 G's a year, I got a question for you. Why the would you ever consider going to a college just to walk on at like an FCS program? Because I've seen so many dudes do that, bro, where they just will go, oh, well, I got D1 dreams. I want to go walk on. I'm going to go ball out. This coach said I may be able to get a scholarship. I don't want to play D2 ball, bro. There are way more guys that go to these FCS schools and become practice dummies and crash the out than there are Baker Mayfields out there, because I can name dozens and dozens that didn't work out at all. Well, let's look at it from a numbers perspective then. This right here is a D1 FCS program in New England and their cost of attendance each year. We see here, if a student has a 4.1 GPA or higher, they qualify anywhere between $9,000 and $14,000 in scholarships per year. So let's just say you're regional to them. The yearly cost of attendance is $48,114. But in this case, let's round it down for the boys and call it $48,000. Let's say I have a perfect 4.0 GPA and I get that $14K bag from admissions at this FCS school. Keep in mind, that's if you have a perfect GPA. That would bring me down to $34,000 a year. Now, we said earlier, I get a $3,000 a year Pell Grant, but now I'm a walk-on, so I get zero scholarship money. That's $31,000 a year that I would be paying for me to hopefully get a scholarship one day. If any of you paid any attention in economics, that's the opportunity cost for you to go and walk on at an FCS school and not obtain a scholarship versus you going to Division II and getting a scholarship. That's $13,000 a year, or $52,000 over 4 years. $52,000. That's a whole year's salary for a lot of people coming out of college for their first year. A down payment on a house. Name which car you want to buy. What could you do with $52,000? If I'm a parent, how can you honestly let your kid walk away from that type of money? If you're spending it for them, good for you. But don't you want a better deal at least? Don't you want to actually see them play college football at a school that genuinely wanted them and was able to put money behind it? Because I would. I have seen so many kids just go, oh, well, I didn't get a scholarship to UMass, so I'm just going to go slug beers at UMass. And I'm just like, bro, that's the dumbest shit in the world. If you have the talent and these schools are actually talking to you, you are doing yourself a disservice and losing out on money. Somebody will take that scholarship. I've said it from a bias standpoint, but I just put numbers in front of you. Try to justify me in the comments below where it's genuinely okay to spend $52,000 more than you would have to if you were able to just humble yourself a little bit or be educated a little bit. This is why you should slap a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, because I just saved a lot of money, and I just helped you get a scholarship. All right, so now that we've broken down how the athletic scholarships work at the Division II level, let's paint a picture for the audience. From start to finish, what a recruiting process would look like for someone who's looking to compete at the NCAA Division II level.
These 2025 guys, 2026 guys, and on, and their parents, and, who's ever watching, in your opinion, if you want to get on the radar of a D2 school early, to get on Bentley's board, or any D2 sport, knowing what you know, how would you approach that with your kid?
I think that's a great question, because unlike the Power 5 level, we don't have a recruiting staff of 10, 15 interns and full-time people working a year or two in advance. I think most D2s are the same way. Number one, I would say, is any school that you have an interest in, fill out the recruiting questionnaire. And even when I was, in the Ivy League at Harvard, like that was really important to us. That's number one. Find out, most websites will have listed who the area recruiter is, or they'll have a recruiting coordinator with an email, so you can find that information out, but shoot an email to either the area recruiter, email, DM. Twitter's kind of the way to go now, or X. Get in touch, express your interest. And then you got to make sure, right? Like as you go through this process, you want to make an informed decision. I tell people that all the time. Like these days, if you're making a decision and all of a sudden something comes up when you show up on campus, it's a surprise, like that's on you. The amount of information that's out there, whether it's the internet, Twitter, you can reach out to current players, talk to your high school coaches, whatever it is, like you can get the information that you need. So I think specifically more for 2025s, we're kind of in this next cycle coming up, and then get on these campuses and do your research, right? Whether it's for a spring practice or a winter workout, or maybe it's just you go to take a tour and they're set up through a coach, whatever it is, get on campus and be a little patient too.
Hey guys, that's it. Are you edutained? Did I do a good job? Like, share, and of course, subscribe to the best family here on YouTube.
Coach, if you want to just take this time to, plug anything Bentley related, the platform's yours.
And then anyone interested in Bentley, like we talked about before, number one step, we filling out our recruiting questionnaire, making sure you're getting in touch with our staff, whether it be Twitter, email, whatever your form of communication is. We'll have camps in the summer. Haven't set a date exactly yet. Be sometime mid-July. Typically do a one-day camp, and we'll be out on the road, man. One of the things that I told our staff when I took this job, and that I told the administration here, is Bentley is going to be the standard and the premier program in Division II. Specifically when it comes to the Northeast. I want our program to be visible and out there. Our coaches are going to do a great job. Like we understand that we're going to recruit nationally because we can, and we have the academic reputation to do so. Our team is comprised of tough, hard-nosed, fast, physical, gritty kids from the Northeast, starting right in our backyard. We're going to start in Massachusetts, work our way New England, New York, New Jersey, and then we'll go national after that. We have a great team, a great program. If anyone else is watching, fans, families, anything like that, come out to games, come out to practices. We'd love to have you.